Hey guys, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Mousy, the ultimate SL Clout Chaser. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. I know we're back to the grind. School has started, so we're gonna have to log off a little early on Sunday. It's back to like cooking, homework, and all the other things, and commuting and after school activities, so it's gonna get a little bit hectic. But I hope that you're enjoying your weekend and the rest and relaxation before it all kicks off. And those of you guys who don't have kids, just girl, boy, just enjoy your life as it is. My cat's pushing me. Enjoy your life as it is. Just make sure that you find the right partner to have procreate with. Don't rush into that. And when I say the right partner, I feel like I'm in auntie mode because I'm giving you guys some advice. When I say the right partner, what I'm trying to say is this. It's going to be more than like being physically attracted to someone, getting butterflies and having amazing sex and even having amazing dates. It's going to be like making sure your values align up as far as money goes, as far as religion goes, worth ethic, like what is your mission statement? Like, you know, companies have mission statements. What's your mission statement in life for yourself? Like, what do you value? Some people say love, honor, family above all. Some people are more ambitious and they seek out to create a legacy and a name for themselves, and whatever it may be, like just make sure all the important things line up, because like when, you know, theoretically we're supposed to be with this person we marry for the rest of our lives, although most marriages, I think the stats are they don't last past 8 years. The goal is to beat the odds, right? So once looks fade, once the butterflies kind of calm down and you're into your routine, you just want to make sure that you have a partner. It's more important for you to have a partner, like height, type to a certain extent. Like you have to be attracted to the person, obviously, but I'm just saying all these superficial things don't matter. It's like super important that you just find a partner that you are incompatible with in many ways. Like marry your best friend if you can. That would be my advice to you from someone who was married and for a little bit and ended up divorced. Like just find the right person. I don't know why I said that, because that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, or maybe it can kind of tie in. So what are we going to be doing today in this video? In this video, we're going to do a little bit of shopping, and I'll keep you updated with some of the projects that I'm getting up to in Second Life. But what I actually wanted to talk about was a topic that was weighing on my mind, and I was kind of talking to some SL friends about it, and it was about video gaming addictions, maybe specifically Second Life virtual gaming addiction. I never had an issue with like Second Life virtual gaming addiction, but I think I did have an issue with FiveM when I went on there, and I'll tell you a little briefly, like a little bit of a story time, and then we'll get into like some of the signs and things to look out for and ways to help you balance your gameplay if you find this may potentially be an issue, ways to help you balance your gameplay with RL, real life. Okay. So back in 2020, 2021, I started a YouTube channel, and I'd been in SL a little bit, 2 years prior, I would say, because I've been in SL like a little bit over 6 years total, right? But I was in SL maybe 2 years at that time, and I'll tell you some of the things that I experienced before I started my YouTube channel. So I experienced like being in an SL relationship. I experienced like hanging out. I think I did what a lot of people did. They went to a lot of popular voice sims and hung out there all day. I did experience a relationship. It was like a 3-month relationship, and then I did what everyone else does: shop, Avi build, and kind of try to decorate. I've never been like an amazing decorator, but it was a very healthy SL balance, real life balance, because I would do my little things and then I would leave and come back. And I think what's tricky about SL is like SL is not a place that sucks you in unless you have like a tribe, like you have friends, you have a partner, you have a business. If you don't have friends, partner, or a business, or let's say you just have a business, it can be very perfunctory. Like you come on here, you do your work, and you leave, and you maybe shop a little bit. Or if you have friends, I would say you stick around a little bit longer because you're talking to your friends, and 10 minutes turns to an hour, and then your friends have activities like little parties and stuff like that, and you have reasons to come back online, right? So combine friends and a business, and that would have you online a little bit longer, right? And then a relationship, forget about it, because you can get into family role play, and now you have these other people in your life who's also having like little events, birthday parties, home, what is it when you move into a house, housewarming parties and birthday parties and just all different types of things. So it just multiplies the amount of events that you have, right? And then on top of maybe a little SL side hustle, and then maybe your friendships and your partnerships and everything like that, it ultimately becomes like a secondary version of your life, maybe doing things that you might want to do in real life. And I'll give you some examples of what I mean by that. So some people come to Second Life and they create the idealized version of themselves, whether it's in looks or career or in fame or popularity. So some people chase fame or popularity in Second Life. Myself, I feel like I've been a very structured person in my real life. Like I told you guys before, like in real life, I'm an accountant. I work in corporate America. So it's very structured. And I've kind of always done what I've been told to do, like even in terms of dating, like you date someone first, you're supposed to get engaged, get married, then have kids. Like I've always followed the linear path that I've been told to do. So coming to Second Life, when I came into Second Life, it gave me an opportunity to explore sides of myself that I don't explore in real life, because I always want to do quote unquote the right thing, right? And the right thing in real life doesn't always work out, but you have the opportunity to see how would things play out in Second Life if you explore a little bit. So people tend to come here and they explore their sexuality. They explore themselves. And when I say sexuality, like different kinks, maybe they might want to try like a little bit of BDSM. Maybe they want to try a same-sex relationship. Maybe they want to try, and when I say BDSM, it's all varieties, right? The slave master thing, it could be like the baby girl, daddy dom situation. I know there's a lot of stuff in between. I'm not totally clear about that. Some people might want to try pet play or, I don't know, whatever their sexual kinks are, people try it in SL, right? And it's a way to explore yourself sexually. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. I actually think it's a pretty healthy thing to want to do this. I don't think we should repress or deny any aspects of ourselves. So that's talking about sexuality. People come in here and then they do different things where they want to explore or experience what it's like to be a different race. Like I'm a black woman, right? Or maybe I could create a white obby and see what it's like to be treated, how it is to be treated as someone white, or experience that life. I know a lot of males do this, like they experiment with different races. I think there was a trend fairly recently when I came back to Second Life. I go to certain Sims and everyone was Asian. And Asians are a small part of the population, especially minority population. So obviously that's not true in Second Life, but I guess everyone liked the skins and a lot of creators were making it. So they were either doing it because it's a trend or they wanted to experience, K-pop is pretty popular right now, so they wanted to experience that, right? So people do that with races, and I don't even think it's in a bad way. They just want to see what different sides of life is like. And I think that you can absolutely do that in SL with your avatar. There are women on here who want to be like pinup doll beautiful, or burlesque beautiful, or bimbo beautiful, Instagram baddie beautiful, model beautiful. So you have the opportunity to create these different type of avatars where you're lithe and long, or you're super curvy and busty and you have a nice ass, or whatever the situation is, and you get to experience being desired from that point of view, right? And the men, same thing. You're either muscular or kind of have like that dirty, grungy, slender, kind of wiry frame, but kind of cool looking. Like people just experiment with different looks, and they bring forth aspects of their personality that I've always wanted to try different things. That's why you see like these biker clubs, or people wanted to be like SL drug dealers on urban roleplay sims, or whatever the experience that you want to have in SL, you can fully immerse yourself in that. So I don't need to go on and on. I think you guys kind of get the idea of what I mean by that. So as you incorporate all of these things, whether it's friends, family, work, and exploration, sexual or race or physical beauty. Or in my case, what I want to do is like, because I'm so structured, I've always wanted to like take my money and open my own business and strike out on my own and have my own hours. But for me, it's a little harder because I have a kid and my son's 8 and I need the benefits at work, and I have a plan in my head, like my 10-year plan, how much I'm going to save, what I'm going to do at what point in my life. So I come on here to SL and I really explore like my creativity and my entrepreneurial side. So one thing in SL that I've never done is I've never really worked for anyone, because it's always been my dream in real life to have my own business. That's why I'm so obsessed with the gotcha business. That's why I was so obsessed with my YouTube channel, creating my makeover clinic and little advertising marketing businesses that I've had on the side as it relates to the popularity that I had on YouTube. Like, I do all of these things for a reason, because it feeds like this inner desire of like, I wish I could do XYZ, and I get to come here in Second Life to do it. So because I've always worked on SL, and I feel like relationships have always had like a lower priority for me, even family. I told you guys this is my first time having an RP family. That's always had a lower priority for me. And friendships, I make friends everywhere I go, real life, Second Life, wherever. So that's always come easy to me. But a lot of other things have had a lower priority to me than creating like a beautiful avatar. That's always fun for me. It's playing with my looks, playing with my makeup, doing things I probably wouldn't do in real life, right? But also starting the business. That's been the draw for me in Second Life. But so there's a con to that, because if you start a business, it's still working. So it's not as relaxing, right? So, I am not addicted to Second Life for that reason. But when I joined FiveM was very objective based, and I'm like an A-type personality. So I'm like, yes, I gotta find the plug who has the gas so I can make the cocaine, and I've got to make all these bricks because I want to be the queen pin. And I was in a city called Trail City, which was super popular, and I ended up doing all these things, but I was grinding out for hours and hours and hours, and it was very relaxing, very decompressing. I had the friendship aspect, it's the business aspect of it, but it was objective based, and it was just so much fun because there's so much action. Whereas SL is like an open sandbox, and there's really no objective here. You just create whatever you want. Yeah, and so I feel like I became very addicted. Like, between SL and the hours that I was putting in with the YouTube channel, the makeover studio, and little events and things like that, little side jobs I had that creators asked me to promote for them, and playing FiveM, I was like, I'm spending a crazy amount of time in Second Life and FiveM, and something needs to give, and I feel like my real life was getting a little bit neglected. And so my friend Sky and I were talking, and she's like, so what are like signs that someone might have like a video game addiction, or they're spending too much time online? And I told her what I'd looked up at the time. So at the time that I was playing, I also want to put this caveat out there. There was also, we were in the middle of a pandemic, right? So in the middle of the pandemic, we weren't allowed to go anywhere, so it was more excusable. But then as we were kind of moving into a hybrid environment, I found myself not wanting to do things, right, in real life. And so that's what alerted me to there potentially being an issue. And then my son was starting school as well, and a lot of things were changing. And that made me kind of think about what I was doing and how I wanted to spend my time and be more intentional about it. So let's talk about some signs like of a video gaming addiction, and then we'll talk about how it relates to Second Life. So some of the things that I looked up, signs of video game addiction, right, is constantly thinking about gaming when not playing, constantly thinking about gaming when you're not playing, or planning out the next gaming session. And how does that relate to, say, Second Life, right? It's like a preoccupation with Second Life. You're constantly thinking about logging in, planning virtual activities, interacting with in-world friends when you're not online. And some people might say, that might be kind of normal because I have stuff going on both in real life and Second Life. And so I might think about it. And I might agree with that. So that alone by itself may not be an indication of like a gaming addiction, but maybe combined with some other things. So that's number one. So number two, that was on the list, is loss of interest in other activities. Reduced interest in activities once enjoyed, such as socializing, hobbies, or physical exercise. I would say I definitely felt that because I was a person in real life who did a lot of stuff where I traveled a lot, like around the world, and even did it with my son when he's little. Like the last place he and I went to was El Salvador. We went to El Tunco, a little surf town, and we had a lot of fun over there. But the point that I'm trying to make is like, other things that I would like to do, like I love to go brunching or escape room or do different kinds of things like that around the city that I live in, like go to Central Park. There's like a little bit of, there's like a kind of like a mile circle where you walk, and I don't even live close to there, but I would take the train out there, kind of do the little scenic track walk, like exercise with friends or even my son, and then we'll eat in the park, like kind of things like that, or go to different museums. I was definitely less interested because Second Life was more lit for me personally. Like I seem to enjoy that, right? Or I would say my family and I, we would go out really often to eat and try different restaurants, like my extended family and my friends. In New York, that can be pretty expensive, but I did start making excuses and say to myself, you know what, I don't want to really go out that much because I want to save money. I have other goals, which was true, but I think later on in retrospect, looking back, I probably was saying that because I was too wrapped up in gaming and things that I was doing that it kind of stopped me from engaging in my normal socializing activities that I would. Because I, you know, like no matter what, even though those things are expensive, we all budget. So we all put in our budget what we could afford to go out to eat or go out on excursions or staycations or whatever we're doing. So technically I could have done it, but I didn't do those things because I was too wrapped up in gaming. So I would say, like, you know, the preoccupation of what's going on in Second Life or FiveM or wherever, in addition to cutting back on like real life activities or hanging out with your real life friends or your real life family, might be an indication that there's something a little deeper going on. So I just want to share that, and then that's just my story, right? And then there's like the part of kind of inability to control your gaming time, finding it hard to reduce or stop gaming even when you realize it has negative effects. And what could some of those negative effects be? Like, are you ignoring your work, your real life job? Like, have you gone to your real life job late? Is it impacting school? Are you spending less time on household chores? So people who game, whether it's you know, FiveM, or I forget that other gun game that the guys play, like Black Ops, whatever it is. I forget, Call of Duty, right? Whether it's Call of Duty or Second Life, you might find yourself being late or missing commitments or failing to meet deadlines in real life. So that can be an indication, if you're neglecting real life responsibilities, that you might need to take a step back or try to balance a little bit more. Are you isolating yourself from real life social circles, like prioritizing in-world relationships over real-world ones, leading to isolation from your family and friends? So that's something that you need to think about. There's also like physical and mental health effects, right? Experiencing sleep deprivation, fatigue, headaches, or eye strain due to long gaming sessions. And that also increases your anxiety, irritability, or even like kind of like depression or like this kind of angst when you're not able to play. I see a lot that people do spend so much time in Second Life, like where they're spending, they're there from like early in the morning, like we are, well, it's almost noon my time, but you know, you could be on from like 8 o'clock in the morning all the way to 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, are you getting enough rest? Are you eating healthy enough? Are you working out enough? Prior to coming back in Second Life, I used to work out like every single day. Like, I was serious about it. I was like one of those girls on the YouTube videos that's lifting weights and like worrying about my squats and how big my ass can be in the next year or working on my arms or different parts of my body. And I was definitely a lot fitter than before coming on Second, like counting my macros and my proteins and all that. I was definitely a lot fitter. And this is recently I'm talking about, as of October 2023. I used to tell Sky, Like I used to work out every day and sometimes twice a day. It would be a passive workout, the second workout. So it'd be like 45 minutes lifting weights and then like 45 minutes just walking around. I would like pop in a quarter of an edible or half an edible because then I could just walk for hours and just look around, and I'd walk to my Target, which was 30 minutes away, and then I'd walk around to go shopping, or I would just everything. I would just make it a point not to get on public transportation. I would walk to the post office to return an item, or I would walk to a supermarket that was further because it was cheaper, or do things. So that would be my way of getting passive cardio in. I definitely don't do that anymore. I definitely walk during lunch because I work in the city like 3 days a week and then I'm home 2 days a week. So during lunch, I definitely walk 45 minutes to Barnes and Nobles every single day, and I walk to the train station. I try to go to the further train station and do things like that. But I definitely don't get in the same exercise that I used to get in. I have weights at home. I lift occasionally, but it's not the same. So when I read that, I was like, yeah, I totally see how that could, like, gaming too much can impact, like, your physical well-being. I think I'm still okay overall, but it could definitely be better. So I just want to say again, these are things to watch out in combination, right? So just to recap really quickly: preoccupation with the game, planning virtual sessions, planning in-world activities when you're not online, like a preoccupation with that kind of stuff, loss of interest in other activities. Maybe you were a knitter or a crafter, or you build little 3D models or whatever you did outside of Second Life. If you don't do that anymore, you might want to think about your gaming and ability to control gaming time. You know, sometimes this happens to all of us, right? Where we're thinking, okay, we're going to log off at 2 o'clock, but then we're having a conversation and then 2 hours later, we're still online. So yeah, that happens. Sky and I were talking and she was like, girl, in terms of neglecting responsibilities and household chores, I'll be scrolling through TikTok and I'll neglect household chores. So any individual one of these things may not be a reason for alarm, but a combination of all these things, I definitely think that you should kind of think about and find ways to balance. So we also talked about like neglecting responsibilities. If you're late to work, or I know if you're unable to find a job or keep a job, like that is a big one. You really, really, really need to I would just really take stock of what's going on and how much your time you're spending where, whether it's RL or Second Life, and kind of reprioritize. Because with any addiction, whether it's like alcohol addiction, drug addiction, food addiction, neglecting responsibilities or have an impact how you can kind of sustain yourself and maintain your survival, that is like always the number one red flag. We talked about the physical and mental health effects, and then of course problems in relationships. If you're married or you have a roommate or your family and you're having problems in relationships, like disagreement or tensions with family and friends over excessive gaming time, you may need to balance a little bit more. So what are some of the causes, right? Some of the causes of any kind of gaming addiction is escapism. So many people use Second Life or other games as a way to escape real life problems or stress. They come to these platforms and they're spaces where they can reinvent themselves, avoid challenges that they face in the physical world, social interaction. So places like Second Life, it also offers rich social environments where users can form meaningful relationships. For some people, these virtual connections can feel even more fulfilling than real life social circles, and it leads to prioritizing these connections over in-world friendships or physical ones, right? And then creative and business opportunities. That's mine, right? And that can become a little bit addictive as people become consumed by their virtual ventures, sometimes at the expense of their real life obligations. So just be really careful. So we kind of talked about like kind of the effects of any type of addiction. So we're going to talk about some treatments and prevention, right? You might want to set time limits in Second Life, like establish clear time limits for SL use. Setting up specific hours for in-world activities can help you balance like your virtual life with your real life obligations. You should also try to recognize what triggers you. If you understand the emotions or situations that might trigger excessive SL use, like for example, if you're a person on SL and you're exploring your sexuality, and then you know that if you go to sex sim, you're going to be lost for like 4 hours. And I just want to say this, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing to be ashamed of, but if you know that you're going to be lost and trying to catch that nut for like 5 hours, you might want to avoid those places. And then of course take regular breaks and try to incorporate activities that you once did in real life, or that you kind of let fall to the wayside back, like whether it's cooking more or dedicating more time to just stepping out and going for a walk or going to the park or doing these different things. I know some of you guys have unique situations like I do because I'm divorced. With my son, he's with his dad 1 month, he's with me 1 month. With his dad 1 month, with me 1 month, like that. Or you may have like a unique housing setup, or you may have a unique work hours, whatever the situation is. Use those things to your benefit. Like the times when my son's not here, like I plan concerts, I plan little trips, or I plan trips for us, and that like would help force kind of breaking up Second Life and real life and balancing it out. I don't feel like I have a gaming addiction anymore, but I definitely felt like I did have one in 2020, 2021. And I don't think it was only from Second Life and the YouTube and all that stuff. Because a lot of people ask, like, why did you leave when your YouTube channel was so popular and you're doing so well and everything like that? Guys, when I went to FiveM, it was just a wrap for me. It just was a wrap for me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't manage both. And FiveM was so much fun for me. It was all consuming. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I don't know if I'm going to post this because I've been wanting to post it, but I didn't want to post something where people would feel like, oh my God, I don't want to hear this shit. Like, this is bullshit. Like, I just want to enjoy my time, and I don't want anyone telling me anything that's going to make me feel guilty or feel a way about this. But I just thought it was important to share, and I wanted to share a little bit of my story. I do feel like I have definitely a better balance, and I also wanted to share when I was away from Second Life and I was away from FiveM in the gaming, and not to say I didn't game. I played a little bit of Sims 4. I would pop on to Second Life occasionally, but it wasn't as hardcore as I was, and I wasn't doing the channel nor the business or anything like that. What I will say happened is that I was putting a lot more energy towards work, so I ended up getting promoted. I told you guys to like a director, and I became a little baby executive within my company. And also, I went hard in terms of this NACA program and trying to buy a house. And what else did I do? I got my son into a really good school, like one of the top, like kind of STEM schools. It's a pain in the ass to get to, so that like was really helpful to me. It was him, and actually me and his dad did that. I don't want to take credit for that 100%. And what else did we do? Or what else did I do? Oh yeah, and then I just started experimenting with little things. Like Midjourney came out with AI, so I started a little Etsy store with like little what the heck do you call those things? Clip art? Yeah, I sold clip art, and I made a little money off that. And I started a little KDP publishing business, and I published like 10 books and stuff. So there is a benefit to kind of balancing the two. So I still do the KDB publishing, but maybe I won't do 10 books. It'll be 2 kind of, right? The Midjourney store, I just take on personal projects, because when I go hard, and I have like 300 listings up there, but now people send me emails to do little unique projects, and I'll do 1 or 2 a month or something like that. So that's my way of balancing. Yeah, so that's just some food for thought and ways to balance. I wanted to show you guys some of the stuff that we made. So look, this Mac made this like slide pod, and look at this. I think it's pretty cool. If you touch it, you could search, and I'm not gonna play too much. I love Amy Winehouse, so let's just do that. Let's submit that. So if I put Amy Winehouse, all these songs come up, right? And it comes up in local. I'm unavailable, so you can't really see it. I'm gonna play number 3. I'm gonna stop that because I don't want to get in trouble. But basically, it plays tons of songs. It's at the Posh event. I think I'll just go over there really quickly. You could shuffle and then just play any song. I think the more you listen, the more it customizes to you. I'm gonna stop this because I don't want to get in trouble. And I thought I was gonna go do a little shopping, but I'll leave it here. So that's something that was made at the Posh event, and I'm gonna go over there to show you guys. Hold on a second. So let's go to Posh, and then I'll wrap up the video, and it'll be a nice, short and sweet video for 30 minutes. I crashed. I was like TPing a lot before I got here, so I understand why that might have happened. This Firestorm update like is terrible, guys. It's really bad. Like, I just feel like you crash everywhere you go. All right, let's see if it's gonna pick up the game. If not, I'll just probably stop the video here and cut it. I just hate that it does that. And I'll put a timestamp in so you could avoid me logging in and waiting. All right, waiting. I'm still logging in, guys. Let's see if OBS is picking this up. My pants is not on. All right, let's see if we're... Oh, it's not being picked up. All right, so I'm gonna stop this here